Shalom, 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 Yasharal worldwide, okay? And, shout out to the gentiles that are following after righteousness. My name is King Brittany Chanel, meaning the king is before me. And also, a king is a descendant and a ruler of a divine race. So that race being Yasharal, let's get into it. If you're an Israelite, like I said, shalom to you. And always pray for peace for our people. Always, peace to our King, Yehoshua HaMashiach, the anointed one. Okay, so in this video, you guys, first and foremost, I would like to say thank y'all so much for subscribing to my channel and, rocking with the content. You guys have been giving me so many ideas to talk about for this channel. And I started this channel off showing you guys my modest journey and things that Yahweh has revealed to me as being a woman in that important role as a woman, and the responsibility as a woman and what it means to be an elder. And I also, in talking about our sisters, I also want to talk about our brothers too, and the relationship between Israelite and Israelite man and Israelite woman, and us coming together. And we have to, Yahweh's not pleased with the bickering back and forth. He's not pleased with what's going on between man and woman. And he has given us specific instructions that we are to marry and be together. He's like, we are set apart. With that being said, Israel, specifically Yahweh's firstborn, okay, we were given instruction. Our instruction was that we are supposed to be with one another. We're supposed to be set apart. We're supposed to be with one another. And we are supposed to be marrying each other. But it seems in our community that I am seeing a lot of videos, and this might be controversial to some folks, but I got to tell the truth how I got to tell the truth. You guys know, if you've been on my King Brittany Chanel channel, I have been strongly against all manosphere content. I have been strongly against these womosphere content, because I know that it comes from the enemy, right? Who comes to steal and destroy. Okay, that's just simple. I know that it comes from that serpent-like energy. And if we talking about it, because I see now a lot of people, they want to go back to the garden, and I've been pushing that we need to go back to the beginning to see where things went left. Grandfather Adam, blood of the soil, grandmother Chawa, things went left when men didn't, in that moment. Adam, instead of him taking accountability in that moment for not checking Eve and telling Eve what Torah was saying and holding what Yah said above everything, he was so, I would say, enamored by Eve. And probably, honestly, I think he could have been scared for grandmother Chawa. Like, maybe he thought that Abba Yah would have took her from him due to her, being beguiled, because she was honestly tricked. Beguiled means to be tricked, right? So with Adam being given Torah and instruction, right, he was to give that to Chawa, grandmother Eve, right? He was to give that to Chawa, and he was supposed to keep his house in order. What ended up happening is the balance is now off, right? The thing that I love about Abba Yah is Abba Yah, everything. Okay, so even though the enemy does things against the people, Abba Yah I always see him turn things around for our good. So basically, what they were guilty of, Adam and Chawa, was not holding what Abba Yah said higher than everything, right? So Adam allowed the hierarchy to be broken, and it allowed punishment to take place, right? Men are not in their rightful, in our community anyway, the Israelite community is not in their rightful place. And a part of them, I feel like they have resentment about it, and it's causing them to, instead of them to repent and take full reflection. And this is not all men, because some men on an individual level, they have taken accountability, they are doing the work, and they're doing what Abba Yah instructed them to do, such as marrying their own women, right? Building families and giving Torah. And we're seeing it, right? Social media is allowing us to see that there are some men that are doing what Abba Yah instructed. But us as a whole nation of people, we have to come together and repent for our wickedness in these things, right? So the hierarchy was broken, right? And you know, the beautiful thing that I love about Abba Yah is that Abba Yah, in order for you to really appreciate righteousness, what do we go through in life, right? We go through chaos, trial, and tribulation so that we learn and prove ourselves to Abba Yah. And we learn to have tools and what the importance of being righteousness is, and taking care of our heritage in Torah, and keeping that in our hearts like we were instructed by the Most High Yah. So that's what I like about the Most High Yah asking us to prove ourselves, is it's because we then take the identity that Abba Yah has given to us very important, and we know it's bigger. The whole role of everything and the whole plan of everything is bigger than even us, right? So we were instructed to marry one another. Number one, the man was instructed to love his wife like Hamashiach loves, obviously, the church, the assembly, right? Being that we were commanded to love one another and all of that stuff, it is so sad to see the content of divestment, the content of passport brothers. That's the one I really want to talk about, because the men are in great error with this thing. And I want to say to the sisters, because I always encourage the sisters on my channel, as well as our people, but our sisters have kind of been lost due to the lack of direction in our community. You have women that are supposed to be elders. They're not teaching the foundational works of what it is to be a virtuous woman. The men, they're not being trained to be husbands, because they don't have a lot of examples on what it is to be a real man in the community. And then you have this bitterness and this hatred. You see it back and forth between the man and the woman, but you really see a deep-rooted hatred that the man has toward the Israelite woman. And Abba Yah has taken the charge where he's protecting the women, if you notice. Okay, so even though the melanated woman has been through so much, and we know that Malcolm X has talked about this, is that the melanated woman, the Negro woman, has been the most disrespected, the least protected. And Abba Yah, I personally have seen, is fed up with this, and he's preserving the women. And he's preserving the women because women, in the type of changes that we experience, and the beautiful part about our role is that we serve as a vessel and a gateway to get what is spiritual to the natural plane that we're in right now, right? So Abba Yah has had a very important role for us to participate in, right? It's cool when you think about it. So he has also, even though in a lot of ways you see our men degrading, betraying, and like I said, this resentment of the woman has started from the garden, because what ended up happening? Adam was punished, right? So man fell out of his seat, and the woman was allowed to rise as a punishment. The enemy, the serpent, was punished, right? So he had to crawl on his belly, and the mutual kind of basically hatred between the woman and the serpent began, right? So the seed of the serpent and then the offspring of the woman, they would be at odds. That's what we're seeing, right? So you got the man having resentment, and you have the woman and the enemy going back and forth, because the enemy hates a lot of people, but he hates women due to your role and due to the very beginning of what happened in the garden. And Abaya, you think about it as this: women, due to our design, we like to listen, and men are designed to see, right? But it has been a swap of things going on, right? The seats have been swapped, where now men, instead of them taking a leadership role, and this is, like I said, this is not all men, because some men who have came to and they have gotten their righteous equilibrium back, they're not in this category of men I'm talking about. The men that I'm talking about, you see, they want to be in the role of women. Like, you see it from everything from courtship to everything. And so instead of them rising to the occasion, you see them attacking the women due to the resentment that started at the garden. The one big thing I'm about to talk about, because we 15 minutes in, is this Passport Brothers movement. And I'm going to talk about the other movements too, because they all are in error, and they're trying to lead the people astray, i.e. being Negro man and woman astray from being together. Because when we come together and when we unite and when we have children and offspring, our offspring together, the unfiltrated, pure Israelite offspring, becomes the head crushers to the serpent. This is why the whole agenda of a lot of this stuff, Passport Bros, is going on, right? So what happens when spiritual law is violated, right? The Most High Yah said, if the men violated this law, right, or if any man or woman, because it said don't give your sons or your daughters, if they not a part of the Israelite tribe, you're not supposed to give your sons or your daughters to this. But the beautiful part about this is that Abba Yah has these other nations rising up, because they know in their inner spirit man that Abba Yah has not permitted that passport bro foolishness that they got going on. Number one, you're degrading your own women so that to justify your sin and unrighteousness. And what is the sins? What is the sins going on, right? The sins that's going on is promoting promiscuity, tourism. Promiscuity, tourism. Y'all get what I'm trying to say? Sensual tourism, which is fornication. The Most High Yah has you're not going to inherit the kingdom doing any of that. So you're not promoting marriage, and they're trying to say marriage under the guise of oh yeah, you know, because these women are not submissive, go overseas and this, that, and the third, instead of saying, as a man, I'ma stand on repenting for the wickedness of my forefathers, stopping the sin and the iniquities and the trespasses. And I'm going to pray to Abba Yah. Yeah, the women, because it's a lot of women that are out of order. But to use that as a justification to why you're going to further sin is nutty. But furthermore, I told y'all that the modern woman culture was created by men. So when you, and I put the scripture up there, do not prostitute thy daughters, lest the whole land fall to what? That's what they did. That's what they did. That's what they did. I'm going to say it again. That's what they chose to do. That's what they did. And so now they're not liking the repercussions of promoting promiscuity. They're not, the imaginations that some of these wicked men had, as far as stuff like only FANS and all this stuff came from the imaginations of wicked men. All of this stuff, right? What's going on in our communities where the men are suffering from things like hyperactivity because they have pushed this adult content stuff so hard so they can't have real relationships anymore. I'm talking about the garden. I'm talking about going back to the knowledge of good and evil, i.e. technology. So because they had this information now, their spiritual equilibrium is now out of whack. They're now lusting after artificial stuff. They're now getting into all these other nations and how they do things, which is whoredom. And so the women following the lead are now out of order. And so now, you know, we have sinned all over here, and we don't like what has happened because we have sinned all over here, and we now want to try to go to third world countries where some of these people have kept original tradition. See, contrary to popular belief, some of our people have kept traditional custom where they promote marriage. If you don't marry, and you're doing all this stuff like promiscuity, fornication, you will bring disgrace to your father and your family's name. So a lot of these people, they believe that they participate in traditionalness, and they have benefited from this. Where you have people over here, they promote a 50-50. Did the Most High God tell you and women to be 50-50? So now, and I'm sisters, that's why I said don't be a silly woman laden with sin, falling for this foolishness that these men is talking about. Abba Yah commanded you to be woman, and you embrace the role of what a woman is. Anybody that's talking nonsense, 50-50, and all this other foolishness that these men is talking about is wickedness. Pure wickedness. Pure wickedness. Period. Did you see anywhere in the Torah where any woman in the relationship was providing 50-50? Because you're asking a woman to be a woman and still a provider at the same time. Are you trying to be a leader? Or are you like, I just want to know, are you trying to be a leader? Are you trying to be a ruler? Do rulers do 50-50? Or they just stand in what it is to be with a leader? They do what it is that it takes to be a leader. That's what they do. So you have these men that they have gone over there, and honey, the Most High Yah is spanking them. He is spanking them. He is having these nations rise up and saying, you're not bringing that depravity. You're not bringing that nasty filth. You're not bringing that nasty, wicked sin over here. You're not desecrating the women over here. You're not doing any of that over here. See, the Most High God, see, people don't understand. The Most High God control both sides of the chessboard. Okay, whether you a Yehudim or you a Gentile, the Most High God control both sides of the chessboard. So the Most High God told you to marry your woman, and you think you're going to run like Jonah did in the belly of the whale? You think you're going to sail in another ship instead of getting yourself to where he's instructed you to go? Oh, I'm going to have these people rise up in these other nations against you if you think you're going to bring your filth over here. your nasty sin over here and think you're going to corrupt over here. Oh, no, no, no. That's what the Most High Yah is showing y'all this. He's showing y'all this. These women from other nations, they got the internet the same way we got the internet over here. And then you got these women, some of these women over here, they just foolish because they don't even read the word for themselves. And this is why I'm saying this is the importance of women putting channels out to show the daughters of Zion in the way that they're supposed to go. You don't just submit and follow after men who are following after wickedness. So now these women are making videos and they're saying that the men have caused the situation to be the way that it is in the situation that it is. But of course, you get what I'm saying? I do take into account that the oppressors and people have done stuff to the men. And then also on top of that, they've added their own sins because the oppressor reads the Torah. They know the Torah. The enemy being the accuser of the brethren, right? He knows the rules and regulations, and he knows what you gotta violate for him to get a leg up on a person, right? What do lawyers do when they go to court? They know the law, so they know how to get over. That's just simply what this is. So what ends up happening to these men who they go and they do the passport bro type of activity, right? These men is getting ran out of countries. The Most High got these people running them out of countries. Oh, they lose all their money because poverty is something that also is attached. Because the Most High Yah said, if you don't marry within your own tribe, right? What happens? You don't get to inherit. Your kids don't get to inherit. You lose out on inheritance. That's like your okay. Back in the olden time, that your dad would have stuff like a will, a trust, all this other good old stuff, and say, you know what I'm saying? If you don't do what I say to do, I want you to go to school, I want you to run this business, and then at a certain point at this time, you do all that and you get your inheritance, right? Y'all, some of us who, our forefathers did that for us. Some of us had grandfathers and parents that did that for us. And they said, you marry at this age, you do this at this age, you get the money, you get the inheritance. The Most High Yah clearly stated, if you participated in the whoredoms, because that's a form of whoredom, when they go and they get the strange woman and all that other stuff that they get into, they lose out on inheritance. A strange woman has a broad thing of meanings. Like, okay, so it's a broad thing, which we'll talk about the strange woman more on this channel. But I just wanted to talk about how it is just so disheartening to see our men and our women at odds with each other. You got women talking about ain't no benefits to having a man. Like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? This that silly woman stuff. Are you kidding me? When the Most High Yah created you for the man, and y'all was supposed to be together, like, hot. So you must think you know more than Abba Yah. It's silly. It's silly for real. You got these women, they degrade the men so bad. They just talk about the men so venomous. And you like, girl, you better go get that spirit off you, girl. Go and get that spirit off you. You need some healing and some deliverance. Because it's like, when you love Abba Yah, you could see the beauty in men, and you can see the beauty of how he created women to be. It's like the marriage is so beautiful when you think about it, right? The roles that we have, especially when you're in righteousness and you're in the will of Yah and you're doing what he instructed you to do. It is a beautiful experience. I'm telling you guys, like, I once was that woman that I used to be so upset with the state of how men were in America. And then Abba Yah showed me that it's still righteous men. And then, he had, like, Abba Yah, like I said, he is preserving the relationship, because Abba Yah is going to preserve his seed line. He's going to make sure that the seed line of Israel continues. So he's revitalizing, I believe, love between Hebrew Israelite man and Israelite woman. It's gonna happen. Like, a lot of people, they don't want to see it. They're uncomfortable with seeing it. Video that I'm about to show you guys is a woman from another country. I think she's from South Africa, she said. And she's explaining on how she doesn't like how these men are not taking accountability. And she's not talking about all men, but she's talking about in particular these men that are pushing this passport bro ideology, the 50-50 ideology. Basically the ideology that they're perpetrating, like these women in third world countries are like some kind of stupid, where they just don't see the internet. They could see what you're doing in America, and then you're thinking that you're going to go over with your trash activity over to these other places, and Abba Yah is using some of these Gentile people as a whipping stick, as he does when you don't follow spiritual law. The spiritual law that he put in place is Israelite man is with Israelite woman, right? So what ends up happening, like, you've seen certain instances in Torah where the Most High Yah used the Gentiles as whipping sticks when Israel violated spiritual principle, his Torah, basically. So this is what you're seeing. You're seeing the passport bros. They're getting threats. They're getting ran out of town. They're getting, these people are on their behinds, and it's just, I believe it's the Most High Yah stirring up these people to whip these people back into where they need to be at. Like, the Most High doesn't let you run from his will. You're going to make a choice, right? He does give you the option to make a choice. You're going to make the choice voluntarily or you can get into it involuntarily. So I'm going to roll the clip, and we're going to talk about this in the comment section below. Let's get it.
And the problem with this idea for me as an African woman, I'm from South Africa, is that they don't realize that this is not, they are the reason why African American women, or they are Western women, are the way that they are. They created this culture. You have to understand that the reason that African women or women from third world countries are the way that they are, because of how their men treat them. Men in other countries are raised to be a provider. They are raised to be a protector. They are raised to be the head of the household. Most third world countries do not promote the 50-50 idea. A man is to take care of the house and the woman is to take care of the house. So, and yeah, African women work, they've got degrees, they can go to a job, but like when they grow up, even though having a degree and having all of these other things, they are still taught how to be a wife at home. And same as men, they are still taught like, you need to be the head of the house. In America, you have a culture of men who want 50-50. They don't want to fully provide. They want to know what you bring on the table. And they say cooking and cleaning is not enough, but you still have to do it because you are a woman. What else are you bringing to the table? And secondly, the way that you guys have treated your women for generations and generations, it's what has created masculine women. It's what has created super independent women, where they have to depend on themselves because you don't want to go to work, you cheat on them, you lie on them, and you don't take care of them. And if you Google the internet, search all of the internet and check and see if any of these countries, look at Brazil, look at South Africa, Nigeria, and find one podcast that is solely dedicated at destroying or talking badly and just like talking all of this nonsense about how black women are fat, masculine and ugly. There is not one podcast that you will find of an African community or Mexico or any third world countries where you go find wives, where wives or women of that nation are being bashed the way that African men bash their women. So, and then thirdly, African men treat their women like queens. They are not like perfect, but they treat them like queens. You, in order for you to fix what you this is part 2. So if you go to any of these third world countries to try and find a wife and bring that wife to America, you are going to create the exact same woman that you created here if you don't know how to adopt the behavior of those men. There's a reason these women are the way that they are. You have to look at how their men treat them. There's a reason they are submissive. There's a reason they don't have a problem staying at home and raising kids. There's a reason why they are submissive to their husbands. But if you go to a third world country and bring this woman in your country and still continue the behavior and the attitude that you had towards your women to her, you are gonna run her out. Most likely, if you go to a country anyway, just looking for a wife because they are better than the wife in your country, you are the problem. You are toxic, and most likely you are a predator, because that means you are not a man enough to learn how to control your women. And when I say control your women, you don't know how to use non-manipulative tactics to get what you want from a woman. Probably can't have a conversation, probably don't want to hear that you have to reason with the person. I don't know, but all I'm saying is, if you go to a different country with the sole purpose of trying to find a husband, a wife, you are a red flag to me and to most African women. Look at African women, most likely they date African men. Why? Not because there isn't like a good American brothers, or there's a lot of great African American brothers, but I'm talking specifically with African like the passport bros. Most even African American women are now looking at dating African men. Why? Because they already understand the assignment. They don't need to make podcasts about, oh, we need a submissive wife, because they know what it takes to get and keep a woman submissive and good. And I'm not talking about control. I'm not talking about bashing, talking down. I'm not talking about any of that. So you need to change your attitude towards women. You need to change your attitude. You need to first learn, like these men that are passport bros, they need to sit down in their country and learn what it takes to be a husband, what it takes really to be a leader in the home, and then start treating their women in the most respectful way, like they are queens, like the way that African men treat their women. I have never seen a toxic culture like African American men. Again, not all of them. The way that they talk about their women, it shocks me. It makes it traumatized.
Says she traumatized. Let's see what else she's saying.
And I want to say, this is part 3. I, as a woman who was born in South Africa or Africa, I'm always so traumatized. Like seriously, it bothers me and it traumatizes me every time I get a clip and I just listen to an African man talk, like African American men, the toxic ones, talk about their women the way that they do. Like it baffles me. I'm traumatized by the idea that you would get a microphone and you will speak such things about your women. I don't care if she weighs 400 pounds, 200 pounds. I do not care. The way that you talk about these women, you demonize them, it's like you're not talking about a human being who has feelings and who has a heart. And listen, you can go to these other countries, you can go to South Africa, you can go to Kenya, you can go to Nigeria, and you can go to the Philippines. Most likely you're gonna get the poor woman who can't wait to escape from poverty. You are a predator because you know that woman is not gonna leave. You can abuse them, you can cheat on them, you can treat them like garbage, but it will be better for them to be sitting in your home being treated like garbage because they don't have any other plan. They would rather stay here, take the money, support their family back home than go back there. So they will take your nonsense, and that's evil. That's not really submission. They're not submitting to you, because submission, you know what submission is like? It's like knowing that your wife has 5 degrees, she makes more money than you, but when she's at home, she's a wife.
All right, y'all, I'm gonna stop the video right here because the video did get a little long, this video, but it was juicy. I had to build up to this because she said a mouthful, darling. She talked about how most melanated women, most Negro, African, so-called African American women, you know, they want to date their own men. However, with the manosphere being a glimpse into the toxic behavior that is being exhibited by the so-called Negro African American men, but not all of them, as she stated also, we want to put that out there. All of the brothers is not doing this, but it's a large population of brothers that's out here doing this wicked behavior. And it has created stuff like modern women, broken homes, and all this stuff, foolishness that this behavior has caused. And so-called African American men are creating a negative reputation for themselves worldwide. It's really, you know, alarming, and people are taking note of this. So hopefully they get it together. I'm going to definitely keep them in prayer because that's what Abba Yah instructed us women, us daughters of Zion to do, is to keep these people in prayer. That's what I'm going to continue to do. And hopefully they improve. You know, if not, it's not going to be a good look for them. So leave your thoughts about this whole situation in the comment section below. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thank y'all so much for subscribing. It's King Bernice Chanel, and you're on my Mocha Modesty channel. I'm out.